On July 18, 2016, the New York Rangers and Ottawa Senators would make a trade for the ages. In fact, this trade became so one-sided that the losing side is still never going to be forgiven for even deciding to accept this offer. Anyway, let's get into the details. So yes, on that July day in 2016, the Senators traded Zibanejad and a 2018 second-round pick, which was Jonathan Bergeron, to the New York Rangers for center Derek Brassard and a 2018 seventh-round pick, which was Luc Loeid. The Bergeron pick would not be used by the Rangers, but this trade was a win for New York from the start. Hindsight is 2020, but this trade dealt a major blow to the Senators in their progress towards becoming competitive. It gave the Rangers a legitimate star forward who was on pace for 90 points and 50 goals before the 1920 season came to a halt because of the coronavirus pandemic, and Brassard, who now plays for the Edmonton Oilers, did not live up to the potential he showed in Manhattan. So leading up to the trade, Zibanejad had recorded his second straight 20-goal season and set a career high in points. He was developing, albeit slowly, into the player that warranted his 6th overall selection at the 2011 NHL entry draft. While Zibanejad was not viewed as a pure goal scorer, his shooting percentage was just under 11% for his career. His peak goal-scoring season was in the 2015-16 season with the Senators when he scored 21 goals on an 11.4 shooting percentage. While higher than his average, it wasn't a significant number. Still, it was possible to predict that he would be at least a 20-goal scorer in the prime of his career. He was 22 years old at the time and was just getting started. Brassard, on the other hand, who was drafted 6th overall in 2006 by the Columbus Blue Jackets, was traded to the Rangers as part of a deal that sent Marian Gaborik to the Blue Jackets on April 3, 2013. Through his 254 games as a Ranger, he scored 174 points, including one 60-point season in 2014-15. He was a good player, but he had tons of red flags. Brassard was 28 years old at the time of the trade, already in his prime and 6 years older than Zibanejad. Furthermore, his best year in New York was the 2015-16 season, when he scored close to a 15% rate. This was a 3% increase on his career average at the time. While Brassard had the talent to become a consistent NHL player, his 27-goal season was influenced by a higher shooting percentage and the result of better luck. He was also born across the river from Ottawa in Hull, Quebec, and was very excited to be joining the Sens. While Zibanejad and Brassard were having career seasons, Ottawa had their reasons for moving on from the young Swedish centerman. The Senators and Rangers were both having salary cap issues. The Senators didn't have the cash to acquire or re-sign their star players, but they did have the flexibility to take on bigger cap hits that represented little cash. The Rangers had several high-profile restricted free agents like Chris Kreider who they needed to sign while shedding salary in the process. From a business perspective, the trade made sense. Zibanejad was a restricted free agent after the 2016-17 season, and he was coming off a cheap contract worth $2.625 million per season. The final year of the contract was worth $3.25 million in salary, and he was due for a significant raise. Brassard carried a much bigger cap hit of $5 million, but was only owed $3.5 million in salary during the last 2 seasons. Financially, trading the two wasn't a bad idea, but it was not a good hockey deal. Almost 6 years later, the trade continues to look worse for Ottawa. Zibanejad has become the first-line center that they've always hoped he'd be. In 323 games as a Ranger, he has scored over 300 points and has hit a career-high 41 goals during the 1920 season. He's an alternate captain and has established himself as part of the Rangers' 1-2 punch alongside Artemi Panarin. The second-round pick that Ottawa sent to New York ended up in the hands of the Detroit Red Wings. The Rangers traded the pick for defenseman Brendan Smith in 2017. The Red Wings later drafted centerman Jonathan Bergeron, and he currently plays in the Swedish Hockey League. Brassard's tenure in Ottawa was largely underwhelming. His first season, which was a 16-17 season, was not as advertised or expected by management. With only 39 points in 81 games, his previous success was forgotten, especially in the eyes of the tougher Canadian media. While he was unluckier than in past seasons, only shooting at 7%, it was still unacceptable. However, his regular season was overlooked due to his performance during the Senators' run to the 2017 Eastern Conference Final. His 11 points in the postseason were tied for 3rd on the team. The following season was much better. At the time Brassard was traded away, he had 38 points in 58 games, and he was displaying why he was so highly touted in both Columbus and New York. However, it was too late as Ottawa had hit a rock bottom and began to trade away assets. His time in Ottawa ended on February 23, 2018 when he was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He had 77 points in 139 games as a Senator. The package they got from the Penguins helped redeem general manager Pierre Dorion. Brassard was disappointing as a Penguin and only stayed in Pittsburgh until the following trade deadline when he was sent to the Florida Panthers. He made another stop with the Colorado Avalanche before becoming a New York Islander in 2019, and then after joining the Islanders, he joined several more teams in the Eastern Conference and a few teams out west before going to Philadelphia, and then after Philadelphia, he got traded to Edmonton during the trade deadline, and he has just moved around everywhere, and now he is considering retirement. He was having a decent comeback year in Long Island with 32 points in 66 games before the 1920 season was paused, once again because of the coronavirus. The 7th round pick Ottawa acquired was used on American-born winger Luke Lohi. He's currently playing for the University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, where he had a lackluster rookie season, with 5 goals and 6 points in 33 games. This past season was no better, posting 3 goals and 5 points in 28 games. By looking at the results and the names involved in this trade, you know that it's one that the Sens lost and by a wide margin. It may be easy to say that the Rangers robbed the Senators, but you must also consider the mitigating factors that were involved. No matter how you feel about the Senators' financial situation, hockey is still a business. In order to run a franchise, especially one like Ottawa, you must make decisions that make the most of your available funds. This trade was based on a business decision that blew up in their face. I'm not defending this trade, and I'm not supporting it. It's the worst one in Dorian's tenure and amongst the worst in Sens history. With that said, there are more involved in the trade than just getting rid of Zibanejad for Brassard. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.